This could be one of the biggest decider match for the playoff destiny, and this was Afreeca Freecs versus SANDBOX Gaming. Afreeca Freecs picked up the win in game number 1. Both teams were focused on a different side of the map. Caitlyn and Lux. And also, Afreeca Freecs was able to outrange the opponents, and they also took the dive comp. So they were focusing on the 2v2 on the bottom lane and also skirmish around the bottom side of the map and also the CC chain. SANDBOX Gaming, they were focusing on the vision control on the right hand side of the map, and also Nautilus was the one to engage fights. So Afreeca and SANDBOX, they both had chances and timings to pull off the play that they planned, and Afreeca was the one getting the cleaner fights. SANDBOX also had a really strong dive comp, but at the same time, the damage carries on the side of Afreeca Freecs were so strong that they were able to chunk down the front lines on the side of SANDBOX Gaming. Even though they might lose some point on the bottom lane, well, they were able to compensate that with their rotation on the top side of the map. Let's take a look at the highlight where SANDBOX was able to pick up a kill, but somehow Afreeca ended up getting more profits after this fight. So Caitlyn already managed to shove in the wave, so that didn't really end up being a huge loss for Afreeca Freecs. And at the same time, Akali was also able to shove in the wave. So SANDBOX, they tried for the dragon, but because they used all of their tempos, Afreeca Freecs ended up finishing that dragon. Afreeca Freecs, they are one of the teams that know how to rotate around the map. So in the end, they also picked up the kill on the bottom lane to finish that a very extended skirmish happened in the early phase of the game. Orianna, when she was about to place the ward to check where Trundle was, she actually died there, so she had to use her teleport to get back to lane. So Syndra was definitely also having the TP priority for the bottom lane fight as well. So even though Caitlyn died there, Afreeca Freecs weren't too surprised or worried about that result because they knew how to compensate all the loss they got. Trundle did take a lot of damage by himself, but we have to take a look at the mid lane. Orianna was about to join this fight, but Fly successfully zoned him away. So Orianna was late to the party. So she was not able to actually participate in this fight at all. Trundle was also definitely being super tanky. And at the same time, the bottom duos on the side of SANDBOX Gaming did not have their ultimate, so that was not a good fight for SANDBOX Gaming to take. At the same time, even though SANDBOX Gaming, they have a lot of CCs, they don't have enough damage to finish the fight. We did not see any upsets coming out in this game, and let's check out the player of the game on the side of Afreeca Freecs. Trundle, Spirit, the third POG of the summer split. Trundle was picked in a very early phase of the pick and ban, and he did manage to show the value of this pick. It was not about the super combo with the Trundle pillar and the Caitlyn trap. It was more like he was really proactive and he was really smart with his decision overall this game. And also, Trundle was doing a fantastic job to zone out the damage carries on the side of SANDBOX Gaming. And in this game, Syndra got much more blue buff compared to Orianna in this game, which kind of reflects the priority that they had all throughout the map. Spirit picked up 7 votes out of 12, but at the same time, Keen, Mystic, and also Fly picked up the votes, but Lux surprisingly didn't get any votes in this game. Afreeca Freecs is one step closer to the playoffs, so let's move on to game number 2, Afreeca Freecs versus SANDBOX Gaming.
Thank you so much, G-Sun, for the translation of the analyst desk, and here we are for game number 2, potentially our final game of the night. If Afreeca keep up their fantastic form. Yeah, Spirit, I think well-deserved. I don't know why there was just a spattering of other votes. It's like people like, got confused.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know, like, they each did their own things. Like, Fly was doing a good job zoning in that one fight, and he had some pretty clean Syndra play. There was also Keen with a lot of his teleports, was really on point. The vote for the Caitlyn was a little bit confusing for me, but...
Big damage numbers.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just
maybe
got to vote
the
for the damage numbers. Yeah.
Not sure. But
he didn't have 19 kills. It's just, honestly, a pretty subpar performance in my personal opinion.
Yeah, maybe next time we can see a 20-kill performance and we'll be happy. But yeah, Spirit seemed like the obvious choice for us here on this desk. As here we go into game number 2. This time the colors are all mixed up, Atlas.
Oh no!
SANDBOX on blue, Afreeca on
Why
red.
Why did you have to talk about it? Oh, I'm so upset.
Just want everybody to notice it.
All right, well, Kalista going to be banned away once again. Feels like Mystic's just not allowed to play that champion these days. As Afreeca, let's see where their ban priorities are going to lie. Senna gotten rid of. As Karma TF might just be the follow-up bans. We saw TF and Karma banned on blue side by Afreeca. Might just continue to be the thing here. As Olaf to be banned away, I'd expect a Zoe last ban. Or a Zoe last ban for SANDBOX if they're trying to line that one up. It's a possibility. Because they don't like Fly getting that champion. They banned it second in our previous match.
Yeah, it's his most played. 11 games on Zoe. And we see it every so often up against really good Zoe players. But instead, they are going to take away the Ashe. So
too many comfort picks.
Thinking about a first pick Caitlyn, I mean, there's already Senna and Kalista banned. There's stuff like Jhin open. Jhin could be another option if Afreeca are not scared of Root's Caitlyn. And so they're going to take away Akali instead.
So Caitlyn's a pretty obvious one. I'd assume that Afreeca have a plan for this.
Akali does seem like a little bit of a throwaway ban, right? It's like, well, we want to get whatever that's strong that's left over, and we don't want Akali to be picked into it. So they're going to go ahead and take Volibear, I think, pretty obviously.
Yeah, we saw Spirit struggle on the Volibear into Cuz, who was actually jungling the set, but we could see Afreeca do exactly what SANDBOX did and just lock away set and the Volibear, but no, it's going to be the Jhin.
Yeah, the Jhin, common answer to Caitlyn's range. He has good lane presence, which a lot of teams are prioritizing nowadays, and so he does get picked very often into this Caitlyn pick. He started off with not the best win rate, but he's won ever since then. So we'll see if he can pick up another one here. As SANDBOX is going to go ahead and scoop up Set because he was left up, and then they'll take Azir for Fate.
This is actually a bit scary because the Akali was banned away, and that's something a lot of people do like to play into the Azir. As, okay, it's going to be Lux Jhin on the bottom side, unless Fly wants to play Lux. But I highly doubt that. Only seen her in the support role so far this year.
That feels like she wouldn't have very much fun up against the Azir. Fate has played...
You can theoretically outrange him.
Yeah, but if any jungle pressure comes in, you're not going to be too happy. I suppose you could try to farm
right? Yeah.
from really far away eventually, but could have mana issues. But either way, we are still waiting for that first Lux Flex because I think it will eventually happen. So
yeah,
never underestimate Fly, I suppose. We'll have to wait and see. Azir, or Fate rather, has played 3 games of Azir. They're all losses. So not the best win rate on that one, even though he does seem pretty comfortable on the champion.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's sitting with Dove on the team and playing the Azir. Of course, Dove, pretty fantastic Azir player, was named after it, of course. But Fate has tried his hand a couple of times, like you talk about. Morgana going to be taken away here. Enchanter supports aplenty have been just taken away. Karma as well, alongside these other two. Certainly means that Lux's stock goes up. And unfortunately not available for SANDBOX, as Afreeca already has a Lucian off the board.
Yeah. Keen has shown from time to time that he can just hop on over to the Lucian.
Nautilus
Played it
locked in.
past.
Okay.
And
Does
wow,
this
you may have called it, Atlas.
Yeah, does this mean that Nautilus can also be flexed, Valdez? We don't necessarily know.
Nautilus top, you think?
Nautilus mid?
Or Nautilus... Ooh, Nautilus mid. It's been a while.
It has.
Or like a Nautilus jungle with a Volibear top. There's very many weird options, right?
Yep. Volibear support. Nautilus jungle. Lux top. Oh, baby. Okay. Jace going to be locked in. SANDBOX are like, I'm done with your funny business. We're just going to lock in strong stuff. As Braum, decent one alongside the Caitlyn.
Quote-unquote blind pick Jace. You would assume that Keen here is just going to flex the Lux mid, and we'll just get a counter pick for the top lane. And that is exactly what is going to come in as Quinn is here for Keen.
Love it. Now we actually get to see where stuff is going. I have a feeling that it's going to be Fly on the Lux. And outranging Azir is something that's been a tactic for years and years. Like Lethality Varus was the classic counter pick. Many years ago, I believe 2015 was when that really became popular. And Lux can do it about as well, right? Just want to be able to clear waves with Lucent Singularity.
I wasn't a
avoid
believer
those
at
soldiers.
first, but slowly you sold me on it, and Fly is definitely the player to do it, right?
Yeah, this guy popularized mid-poppy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's done some weird stuff.
The guy is willing to play pretty much anything, and we talked about how there is flexibility for Lux, and we finally see it here. As the Lux priority has gone through the roof, now might not be the time to buy that stonk because it's already so high.
The stonks are falling. I bought some stonks recently. Did I tell you about it?
Yes.
I bought some seedling stonks.
Yes.
Because it's been like monsoon
Seedling
crazy
stonks.
raining. So I have a seedling company's
Nice.
stonks. Pretty cool. It's a recommendation from my girlfriend who's done a hell of a lot of research. And I think it's smart. It sounds smart, you know? I like the idea. I do like the idea of the Lux mid as well. I feel like maybe Afreeca have outthought themselves, or maybe they're just geniuses. Because they do have Nautilus and Volibear for frontline, and then a hell of a lot of range elsewhere, with Keen able to split push for days with his Quinn. Looking forward to seeing how it goes. As SANDBOX on our blue side this time, the more winning side for this season. But whether it's going to be enough to topple the very interesting picks of Afreeca.
Yeah, and we have not seen a Quinn game from Keen here in Summer just yet. Other players have played it. It's not the first time we're seeing it, but it always has kind of, you know, mixed results. It doesn't really take over games or anything like that. And it's very interesting into the Jace.
Yeah, press the attack Quinn as well with Ignite. He's really trying to kill people. We've seen a few Quinns go the more defensive route with things like Cleanse and the Phase Rush. Not this one. This is Keen, ready to kill. So we'll have a look at Fly's runes. He has taken Scorch because he's
Fly goes Scorch
Fly.
every single game.
He does. He really likes it. As Mystic standing at the right spot in that brush. Like it.
Dancing.
Just dancing. Yeah.
Having a good time.
Not bad. I believe Fate had Scorch as well. No, he doesn't. He has the Gathering Storm. He is an intelligent gentleman.
Nobody else has Scorch.
Yeah. Even Mystic, he's like, hey, Fly, how'd you do your runes? Took Scorch again. All right, I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah, there's so much blue and purple, and he's the only one that picked it up.
All right, Ben's going to land his first dredge line. That's good news. As himself and Mystic will have a lot of lockdown. A lot of CC options. Dancing Grenade for some harass, but Root has some bullets, and they're also working. Another dredge line to connect on the Gorilla.
I swear I didn't even notice the Braum being picked. I saw the Jace, and before that, I saw the Nautilus. It's like my mind automatically blocked it out of itself for some reason.
I mean, it is a little bit boring, but that's okay.
Or Braum. Well,
Fly with some control here in this lane. Utilizes the passive to take down those minions, but he's 4 behind the shove from a Nazir. Quite frustrating. It's going to take a bit of AP before Fly is going to be very comfortable clearing the minion waves. Spirit going to pay some attention here towards the bottom side, but you can see SANDBOX without shoving the wave in just yet, and so they're not overextended at this moment in time. Ben, I mean, he's been landing a lot of these hooks, walking on forward, seeing where SANDBOX are moving.
I like how he's always threatening it and showing like, hey, jungler could be here. This is the timing if he went for an aggressive jungle path. So he uses that a couple of times just to get some lane control, get some mana out of the Caitlyn, who uses abilities to farm instead. Just a little maneuver there from Ben.
Like it. Like it a lot. He's been living in that brush. I think he's got a home there now.
Ooh, nice CS.
Yeah, nailing it.
Gonna catch all of them. You can see that Fly has played 9 games of Lux. He is... You see the KDA, he normally just gets a bunch of assists and doesn't necessarily get a lot of last hitting done on the kills. So there you go, and it has been 388 days where Fly on Gen G at the time lost to, at the time, SKT Faker.
Yeah, and this was Faker's Nico as well, the extraordinarily successful pick for SKT at that time. Just over a year ago. So looking forward to seeing what Fly's going to be able to show us here on the Lux without having to deal with Faker's Nico. Fate's Azir might be a little bit more of a problem. We'll have to have a look to see how he performs. As Afreeca clear out those minions very nicely. OnFleek looking to pay some attention towards the top side as he's going to sweep pretty happily, moving over a complete lack of wards. It's a great vault out of Keen as he's going to get a bit of movement speed. OnFleek looking for the face breaker, and he will find it max range. Ignite goes in, but Keen avoids the shock blast. I don't know why he lit OnFleek on fire there, but he just wanted to, I guess.
Yeah, maybe just put the fear into him. Maybe saying, hey, Spirit's coming.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Nimbus Cloak. Might have been looking for a Nimbus Cloak to get himself out of there.
Yeah, that makes sense. If he does have that secondary.
Yep. I believe he does.
It's a good idea, actually. Good catch.
OnFleek's back. Okay. Was looking for it onto the volley bear, but he's not quite that fat. As Keen is not very healthy. So, as it turns out, Afreeca will just kill all the minions. And looks like that minion wave actually is going to get pulled. So, SANDBOX with a pretty good position on that one. OnFleek running pretty fast here in the river as Sky Strike comes down. And OnFleek, he does have the Haymaker as Fly coming on over. He'll have a shield to offer, and that means OnFleek is going to back away. No first bloods just yet, and no real advantages for any team at this point in time. Having a look down at the CS, very even bottom lane, pretty even in the mid lane, as a back was just taken by Fate, so theoretically he does have an advantage. And there's one camp ahead for Spirit.
Yeah, there was a lot of posturing up on the top side as OnFleek was really trying to push the issue up against the Quinn. You don't want the Quinn to get out of hand, and she starts flying around the map and just, you know, soloing people down. So trying to help out as much as possible, get Summit ahead potentially. And it seems pretty even up at the top side. Looks like he might be freezing, actually. Not really. Just waiting here. He's slow pushing. He's not trying to push the wave or anything like that. Wants to stay in a more comfortable part of the lane. Yep. Didn't have enough power to push actually towards him, so he couldn't freeze it.
It's a huge stack of minions, though, so it does deny Summit any way of actually fighting the Quinn. Unless he can thin out this wave. And with Shock Blast and things like that, Ajay certainly can do that. So Mystic getting the rest of these minions and now moving into Fog of War. Might be that Afreeca look for a Mountain Drake, as Fly's gone for as many rings as he can handle.
Again?
Yeah, OnFleek is, he's got a tent up here. It's a luxury tent.
Notice how Keen is playing, too. He knows. He's like, well...
Yeah, he's waiting for his Harrier to come back up again, actually, which is his W, gives him that vision. And you saw OnFleek's just going to go back home. Doesn't reveal his position, that's definitely good, as there's the Harrier like we were talking about, and Keen knows that he can now play a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, it's going to be just fine. Spirit now going for his red. They're going to just go for both reds. And maybe OnFleek will eventually stop trying to gank the top lane, as Keen seems to be playing it out very well, relatively safely.
His dancing shoes are certainly on today, avoiding so many of these shock blasts very nicely. Certainly is key in this matchup. See his overshield working out as well, as that Ignite that we were talking about is now back. up and available as Mystic is holding the wave. Could this be a freeze?
I mean, it has the potential to be, but he won't. As
okay.
you see that he has bought literally 0 items, so he's trying to push it out and get a decent back, it seems, rather than just freeze it for now.
Yep, that makes some sense. And they should be able to do it. That mini wave is going to come through with the Caitlyn, so they should be able to actually get a crash, as you can see there on the bottom side in your minimap. It was a good steal from Afreeca on the blue buff. As Fly's Lucent Singularity here is going to help clear out the minion wave. Thankfully, he's got it down to a E and an auto attack in order to get rid of the minions. That'll mean that they'll be able to get some control around this mid lane as SANDBOX do start off Shelly. Fate coming off a reset. I mean, Fly wants to get some vision in here. There's Roots rotating up, and it looks like the Rift Herald is just going to be taken. Lucent Singularity comes in, but as you can see, Afreeca knew that this was happening and just didn't think that they could fight for it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an unfortunate timing for them at the time. Jhin had just gone back and wasn't going to rotate up to the top side. And so they just give that one away. Nice little win for the side of SANDBOX as Ben was on a ward. Knows that because of Root backing away right away. As this top lane is always interesting to watch to see exactly, you know, who's going to get the advantage. How is this Quinn going to do? It's a pick we rarely see in the LCK.
Oh, there it is. Volt comes forward. That's a good timing for the To The Skies, and that's going to allow Summit to trade back pretty well. But he knows that he has the disadvantage of not having Ignite. So not going to go all in at this stage as the back comes through. With the minion wave sort of stalling there in the middle of the lane. It's pretty easy there for Keen to get some work done. We have Caulfield's Warhammer and a Serrated Dirk done for Summit. But Keen just goes back and gets a cloth armor. Looks like he might be looking for something like a Ninja Tabi to avoid dying to this Jace. And there we go. Looking all pretty easy. As Keen's control of the lane has actually been pretty impressive this game. So that he's always back at the right time.
He dodges everything.
Yeah, no shock blast is allowed to land onto Keen, apparently.
It's crazy. I mean, Quinn's health pool is relatively low, and if you get hit by a couple of those, you're going to be hurting, right? He doesn't have much sustain. He's got 1 potion, right? It's not like he even picked up a refillable. So he's just relying on getting boots early and saying, well, I'm just going to dodge everything. And so far, it's been working for him. We'll see if it continues to, as On Fleek is just non-stop being aggressive up here on the top side, but he's going to be spotted. We got a Zir here as well.
Yep, there's the Emperor's Divide, but the ulti avoids it. Good work from Spirit, who's going to flash forward. They're looking for Summit. The Volt is going to close the distance. Ignite finishes off the killers now. The Showstopper comes down, and Keen is going to be taken 1 for 1. But First Blood going over to Afreeca gives them that little bit of extra money. Life Binding comes in. The flash forward from Fly. Still has Final Spark, and he's going to use it as the flash comes out of Fate, and he avoids the ulti and ultimately his death. Mystic was looking to use his ult just to clear out the minion wave to avoid being dove. And he is going to be able to do that now, looking for a back timing as Root and Gorilla will push in. All of a sudden, the action.
Yeah, just opens up immediately. Love the roam from Ben to get up there. Doesn't end up netting himself a kill, but he does get the flash, at least out of Fate, as it was opened up really nicely by the side of Afreeca. As I'm sure we'll get a look into that replay in just a moment. Mystic actually staying, so didn't have to back and miss any CS. Spirit originally just trades the ult, and it's like, okay. But then Summit gets a little bit too close to the fire, and immediately Spirit is able to open that one up. A really nice look from him, as eventually Keen, of course, does pay the price. And eventually Fly makes it up here. Fate was here much sooner, actually, so a nice roam from him, but it wasn't able to amount to much, as it was a 2 for 1 in favor of Afreeca. As here is SANDBOX again.
Yeah, Volt goes back. Oh, tried to sidestep it, but that Glacial Fissure just a little bit too wide, and that's a good gank. As even Fate is here to join the party. It's a plate party, everyone. And they are going to be able to get a whole bunch of them here, and Shelly's going to help out. So that turret's well and truly dead. The life of the Quinn gets a whole lot harder, as Spirit just hasn't been able to help him out that much. Gorilla going to find the bear, as there are also 3 other members of SANDBOX in the area. Spirit has to be super careful. he gets a shield. Onfleek standing. He's ready to try and steal it away, but Spirit locks it down, and that's 2 turrets in favor of SANDBOX. And the lane just got extraordinarily long for King.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plays it out, because as the Quinn, you would love to take the enemy turret and then have him have the long lane, and then you just start flying around the map and looking for opportunities where you can get into the enemy jungle, steal away stuff, look for little ganks or pranks onto other lanes. As Mystic is just farming here all alone, we're getting the zoom in over and over as to just how much farm he is getting. His team is also going to pick up the Mountain Drake here early. So really the one who's hurting a bit is Keen after, of course, getting ganked, but then losing his entire lane and all the turrets. But the rest of his team seems to be doing okay. There's also a 20 CS difference in the mid lane at the same time.
Yeah, and actually, I don't think it's the end of the world for Keen, because the Quinn is able to split push so effectively with her ultimate.
It's difficult to lock her down even though she is in the long lane. So,
yeah, Keen using his, Summit using his Ghost Blade to try and get out, but the minions block the blind. Teleport comes forward. This is going to be Fly joining the party. That is going to deny the re-engage, but both mid laners now without TP.
Set's coming up. They may look for the play. No flash on Fly. They're just going to play a little bait play. Doesn't look like they want to fully rotate up and look for a kill or anything like that.
Nope. Ben's going to find Gorilla. There's the dredge line to pull him back. Curtain call comes down. Gorilla puts up the Unbreakable, stands behind Root. And the last bullet. Not going to be able to find Gorilla there, despite the fact that they did have some vision in the area. Looks like this tower is still going to fall down, though. Missing out on the plates by about 30 seconds, but it's not the end of the world. Afreeca about 2,000 gold behind.
They would love to dive the Lux. Here they go.
Yep, she is going to be mega dead. Slammed into the wall and thrown around like a rag doll. That's going to do it. Life Binding connected onto Onfleek, but he gets out of the way of the turret. And yeah, Spirit's going to be able to lock down the Rift Scuttler, but it's probably not going to be worth. As Keen comes in, looks to try and defend, but you can see the overcharge working out for Summit as he launches a whole lot of bullets into that outer turret and takes it down.
Yeah, so immediately you can see that SANDBOX sticking a ton of the turrets on the map. They've got 3 so far, 2 in the top side, and that's one of the downsides of Lux. She is kind of a sitting duck, sometimes up against some dives, and Jungle Set is actually really good at diving mid lane, so we've seen it before many times. Hex Splash, very common. You just go straight over the wall, and there's really nothing you can do. Fly had no flash, so he was absolute dead meat the second that they committed to that one. So just go in and take that down. You get the turret as well. Just a nice little conversion play by SANDBOX.
I believe that's a Sanguine Blade picked up by Keen. Certainly committed to playing Keen versus the world. Haven't really seen this in competitive at all, but certainly suits Quinn quite well. Root with a bunch of flowers. Throws into the mid lane. Looks like Mystic's probably going to take that one away. Yeah, that ward did not last very long whatsoever, but at least managed to clear out some vision that was put forward by Afreeca. And speaking of them, 2,000 gold, still the lead. And Afreeca trying to get a bit of a push on. Spirit looking for a bit of a dive underneath the turret potentially, but the minion wave is obliterated by the Azir. As Spirit avoids the ulti so nicely, but so does Fate with a well-timed stopwatch. Shifts the sands over and Spirit may just die. But no, not just yet. You can see Keen flashing forward, looking for Gorilla. He goes golden. Now Summit and Onfleek are moving on over, and Keen understands that he's not able to lock down that kill. And Shirley is just the one-man wrecking crew, or the one shellfish wrecking crew on the side of the map.
Yeah, it's true. Onfleek was sitting in the bot lane for such a long time, and he's still here. He's like, yeah, you wanted to split push with your Quinn? Yeah, good luck with that, 2v1. Probably not going to work out very well for you. And Keen is just, he's not really been able to open up any of the side lanes so far. He's just been countered at every single corner. As you can see him here, he's so close to his turret, he's not able to push out too much just yet. This is going to be a very long bottom lane as that second turret did go down here for Afreeca at the same time. So,
I mean, SANDBOX's lead is entirely instructions. They are 4 turrets ahead of Afreeca against a Quinn comp, which is nutty. Like, you're supposed to be taking turrets everywhere as Quinn. That's sort of like your job. 24 seconds to go. Cloud Drake. Spirit gonna have to ult himself out, but Summit's running real fast. Ace in the hole comes in. He had the Q, but he will get slowed down. Depth charge gets the knock up onto Gorilla and onto Summit. As the Unbreakable's not going to stop that one from coming through. As Mystic is going to get the red buff. He did it. Wow. Yeah. Nowhere near the fight whatsoever.
Yeah, Mystic is kind of like their secret trap card, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen much of Mystic fighting in any fights, really. He got the lockdown with the W before onto the Braum, but outside of that, it's really just been pushing lanes and farming. And he's got the most CS in the game. He is going to be quite the fed Jhin. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. The Lux in the mid lane, we've been seeing a lot of support Luxes, so you might, remember some of her numbers. But, I mean, she's able to steal that through the shield, right? This is mid Lux. She's going to have a lot more items, a lot more levels, more damage, bigger shields, and that's really the reason why you take this mid Lux. Kind of, in a similar vein to the Karma, just does a lot more damage.
Yep, and this game is going to be about 4-1, right? They are leaving Keen to try and split push things out of the way, and they're relying on the Lux wave clear alongside Mystic being able to stand back with things like Dancing Grenade clearing out the minions, and the Deadly Flourish, of course, as they conga line their way in. Long-range wave clear is not at a premium for Afreeca. As you can see, Fly can do it from a really long distance away.
Yeah.
And the cooldown on that ability is just silly. Especially with blue buff, of course. But that is just going to be how it works. For Fly, in the later stages, we're going to be seeing a lot of this. Keen, looks like Stormrazor going to be coming in next. See where the build is going to end up for the Quinn. Spirit parking himself towards the bottom side. Infernal Soul this game. 3.5 minutes until the first one of those is on the Rift.
And both sides can use it really well, but here's Gorilla getting locked.
Yeah, he's going to be discovered. Summit comes on over with a lot of damage, though, as Ben looking to engage onto OnFleek. He takes a lot of damage here as Keen has found the backline. Final Spark avoided very nicely, as we've got some underground bullets thrown out by Mystic, as the curtain call is blocked by terrain height, and is very confusing. But it's all right. We discovered what was happening in the end.
Yeah,
Just to keep the volume up.
I would have really liked to see the Final Spark try to snipe the set, I believe it was. Whoever that was really low, running away from the fight. Whoever they rooted in the first place, because Fly was able to land that root and then didn't use his full combo on whoever that was. So
thought he could kill both of the bottom lane instead. Unfortunately, the greed did not pay off this time around. But as you can see, CS-wise, things have evened out. Still 3,000 gold, nothing really to write home about. So the game hasn't really got out of control for either side. SANDBOX do hold an advantage.
Look at that gold difference at 10, 0.0k.
Yeah, Keen's actually looking for the battle here. Gets the proc, but he's losing out on the fight. OnFleek's going to come on down. Blind is good, as Final Spark once again is going to miss. And there's the showstopper into the backline. Ben going to get caught out of position, tries to dredge line away. No flash, but he's going to go golden. Life Binding comes in. Ben is going to be taken, but can Afreeca find anything else? Ace in the hole is going to tag Mystic. He has no mana. Emperor's Divide doesn't land onto the Jhin, and Fate is just obliterated. Spirit, massive in the front line for Afreeca, but the rest of them are just so damn low. Root chasing forward, and now it's time for the Caitlyn tank. Loosen Singularity will do some damage, and remember, it's a mid lane Lux. So not actually able to make that one work. Another Final Spark. I mean, Fly will eventually get his eye in, and he'll hit one of these. Looking forward.
One of them. We're waiting. I was surprised that Afreeca were able to get much of anything out of this entire fight, because Keen takes not the best trades very far down the lane, has to have Teleport come in to help as Fly is trying to join the fight. They're going aggressive up on the top side too, you can see, but it turns into a 2-on-3 that Ben gets left alone. Mystic had to flash away, and then you're like, well, this isn't looking very good for Afreeca, especially when Fate comes in and Ben dies. But all of a sudden, the Azir is just totally denied. I mean, he gets the ult down, but he gets burst and shredded to pieces 100-0 in under a second. And Keen is able to flash and stay alive. Or not flash, but vault over that one as we got another fight here.
Yep, Mystic gonna get tagged. Broken face definitely works out thematically because Jin, with his crack in his mask, has an extra one now. As On Fleek certainly put a hole in it. As Stormrazor's done here for Keen, but without their AD carry, it's going to be very, very hard for Afreeca to hold on to this map. Doesn't give Keen a lot to do in a side lane. And it's in fact Lux that's up there trying to hold on.
Level 14 Summit on the Jace is really difficult for them to deal with. They don't have a lot of tankiness in their lineup. It's really just Spirit.
Wait, in this game, do we have Storm Strike and Sky Strike on the same team? I think the second activation of Keen's ultimate is called Sky Strike, and Spirit's one's called Storm Strike. And I think I often accidentally call Volibear's, I think it's the E. I think I always call it Sky Strike instead of Storm Strike, as SANDBOX will easily take the first Infernal Break of the game. It's ability names, man. Ability names. It's just sometimes confusing.
There's only so many words in the English language, you know?
There's only so many words I can hold in my brain.
Yeah.
You know?
But some of the abilities are going to sound very similar. It's just the way it ends up working. And we're seeing that Afreeca, yes, they gave up that first Infernal, but they're trying to get aggressive. Wow, spotted out. Great idea there from Fade, it looks like, who put that one down.
Yep. Tower going to fall, so some of that gold is going to be pulled back by Afreeca. The snowball somewhat denied. Let's see. The Quinn is who you've got to keep your eye on, because whether she can actually be comfortable in a side lane, that's going to be the important thing. She's a full item behind, though. I mean, Summit, despite the fact that his scoreline reads half as many kills, doesn't really seem to matter. His item's a bit cheaper, and every serrated Dirk item completion is a power spike, and he's got 3 of them.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot of these structures, right? And obviously some plates in the lane as they're spotted out to the nice amount of damage. Storm Strike.
Practice.
Thunder Strike.
Yep. Fly. Ooh, yeah. Doesn't want to get tagged by that Winter's Bite.
Okay, he's got some vision, though.
Shock Blast, real dangerous. Good life binding in Spirit. Frontlining now. Unbreakable, now on cooldown. Really nice W out of Mystic. There's a lot of traps in the way. Delicious cupcakes available for Afreeca, but they are going to abstain. They are not hungry at the moment. The top lane attempted to be dealt with there by Keen, who did go back and got himself a crit cloak. Let's have a look at how Mystic was called out.
Hextech Flash. This is it's a staple on set. We really don't see it on too many other junglers. I would like to see it more often.
Yeah, I feel like it's set, and then otherwise Leona and Alistar.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that really make use of it.
There's a lot of value that you can get out of that. You saw that time he used it just out of vision to pop in vision and then run.
Yep.
Just to give
a
less
great
play.
Skarner summoner as well.
Yeah.
Should talk to good old Captain Flowers about it.
I wouldn't mind it on the Skarner. But he might want some other movement speed stuff alongside of Predator, so you might have to go for the blue tree.
Yeah, that's true. Might want to be Skarnering around a little bit easier. Teleport into the mid lane here by Fly. Skarner buffs next patch, actually.
Oh, yes.
So what that's going to mean.
I want more Skarner.
Another thing to talk to the captain about. As Rabadon's Death Cap is done for Fly. I love this. Flat AP, fantastic for utility champions that can do damage and shield. You're just buffing yourself all over the place. Fantastic. BF Sword and Pickaxe here for Mystic. Wants to get to that 3-item spike with his Rapid Fire Cannon, Stormrazor, and Infinity Edge, but he's just not quite there yet. Caitlyn can probably afford it when she goes home, but Root wanting to clear out mini waves instead. Going towards the bottom side. Also building towards an Infinity Edge, I believe. As both of our junglers pretty priced into building a lot of armor. As Jace Caitlyn going to be doing a lot of work, as is Jin and Quinn. Jwin?
Jwin.
Yeah.
Nice. There's not much else
really
to talk
hard on
about
that
in
one.
this game, so you're really reaching for the for the content, you know. The twin. Wow, he missed that cannon.
But
He
he has a
headshot it.
full sword. Well, Mystic at least does. And Infinity Edge is completed. Back now comes down for Root. He's going to be able to buy a bunch of items. I think Infinity Edge should be done. And possibly something else. Yeah, it does have a control ward. Spirit going to be tagged on his way out.
Yeah, there's a lot of posturing around mid lane now with the Infernal coming up relatively soon. But Spirit immediately is just taking so much damage. Trying to support Keen in the side lane. Trying to take out the wards.
Yep, hops back on his bird. Valor's going to taxi the Quinn. Possibly towards his team to help them out. Some big item spikes available for Afreeca at this time, but the same can be said for SANDBOX. Quadra Dirk, as well as the three items that Caitlyn really likes.
Oh.
Now, Summit fighting against Keen here. The flash forward. Keen finds the last auto, and it's a 1-for-1 in the end. OnFleet grabs the kill. Stealing that one away is Mystic. Ace in the hole going to come down. There are all of the heals, all of the shields. There's ultimates absolutely everywhere, and there's the Emperor's Divide. I don't think it did quite as much as they really wanted to, but the Haymaker did. Mystic getting exhausted. Root flashing on forward. I don't know whether he wanted to, but it did work out in the end. Final spot finally hits someone, and it will mean the end of the Caitlyn Spirit wanting to be the one-man army, but that's going to be the ace, and SANDBOX will take down this turret, and maybe a whole lot more.
Oh, they're going for the end? They're going to TP in here, and they've gotten Azir in a big minion wave, so rather than just go for the safe Inferno, they're going to try to push this one, but Quinn is coming up. I don't think they can end it with so many low health bars. Maybe try to get the inhibitor and then go back. I would imagine, as the respawn is going to come in here. Thank you, Jonas Strong.
Yep.
As the chase is on.
Yep, Keen wanting to come in 1v3 is just going to die. That is, what? That's a suboptimal play. That is a
Throw. Yeah, that's
I mean,
weird.
can you throw a game that you're losing?
That's true. I suppose not. He did a good job trading with the base earlier on, by the way. That's a trade that Afreeca should always be pretty happy with, especially with just how much burst damage the Jace has. So we're going to start off with that. Keen on vision. Kills the ward, actually, and then they butt heads. They're both level 16, and both of them are not going to back down from a fight. They both have good chase potential, so there you go. 4 on 4. And immediately, great job by Fate to poke out Mystic, who has to draw his heal, and Spirit's totally by himself, thankfully able to ult in. Then you see that Ben is definitely just kind of isolated with a massive front line of OnFleek and Gorilla able to deny so much damage. And then the Caitlyn is online. See that Fly did throw out the E at the same time and did a nice amount of damage. A very close fight. But in the end, just more value going the way of SANDBOX.
Oh, Ben's not going to find the dredge line as the rest of SANDBOX are going to pull away. Stun onto Gorilla, Unbreakable. Going to be on cooldown for the next little while. Keen flying his way in on the wings of Valor. Sounded a lot more magnificent. I intended it to. I don't know, hyperbolic maybe. Mystic clears out the way very easily with the Dancing Grenade as Keen will have to deal with super minions at some point, but he can fly back pretty quickly, and SANDBOX are taking them on the do-si-do. They're losing their health bars. Losing Singularity's pretty free vision for Afreeca.
Yeah, they got a nice amount of poke with Jin Lux.
With Captive Audience, but Summit is chunking so much.
Oh!
Binding comes down, Fate goes golden. And Zonya's definitely worthwhile as there's the curtain call. Misses the second bullet. Gorilla slowed down and just out of range is the set on the top side.
And it's back really soon. 10 seconds. And Lux will be back online. She's level 16, so insane amount of poke damage. The Zonya's is huge value. Love that the Azir went for that. Pretty common for the Azir to go for that eventually, and it's just going to be really great against that. We don't have any other stopwatches or anything like that. There's an Edge of Night for the Jace, but everyone else can take an immense amount of damage. Imagine if Root gets caught in that.
Yeah, right.
It's not going to feel very good for the Caitlyn, as Lux is definitely one of those champions that's a little bit like Blitzcrank, or like an Ari where it's like if you catch someone and just 100-0 them, it can be a game changer even from behind.
Absolutely true, but Spirit's going to get caught. He has to try and ult to get out as Fly comes in with a shield. And now Spirit has to go back to base, and an opportunity for SANDBOX to make this map very, very dark for Afreeca. As you can see, they can't see anything here. Afreeca will move in, sweeping vision out. Gorilla moves on over. They know that this Baron is happening, absolutely. Whether they can do anything about it is really the position. Exactly, ooh. And just taken down. That last few percentages of the Baron were very, very fast. Here for SANDBOX. This lead is extending and extending.
Yeah, it's also double Infernal with Infernal Soul Point coming up here in a minute and a half while they have Baron. This is not looking very good for Afreeca.
Not at all.
Who are on the back foot here with some interesting picks, but they're not exactly working out too well for them so far. SANDBOX in a fantastic spot.
Yeah. Having a look at the gold, you can see the Azir having a 2.5k gold lead is pretty huge, as well as OnFleek being very far ahead in the jungle also. Just him and Spirit ulting each other around. Shock Blast going to connect onto Spirit, but finally some armor has been completed. So he's going to be okay for the moment. Looks like Spirit's going to be building a Gargoyle Stone Plate. That's his third item. Back comes through from Keen. Can he complete any other items? Looks like just a stopwatch. Try and keep him healthy. SANDBOX now going for the Siege. Good life binding's going to connect. A lot of layering of CC available. Is OnFleek's going to get slowed down. Great dredge line, but even better Haymaker. Final Spark connects onto OnFleek. It's Fate once again into the Zhonyas. He's going to get out of the way. Captive Audience not going to connect.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. SANDBOX are taking it, but they can also give it with their Jace, who has those 4 Dirk items. How can he hold so many Dirks? Nobody can know.
There's a lot of swords.
Yeah.
Blades and things.
And this should be SANDBOX's. I'm not sure what Afreeca is really going to do to get in here. They have an immense amount of damage and burst.
Someone has to face check, right? Like, they lose this Infernal. I mean, they've lost the Infernal. It's done. It's over. Haymaker comes in. All right, we'll see whether they can actually take some health bars low here as Gorilla getting chunked. Has to flash. Fate was trying to block for him to be a bro. Gorilla just flashes out of the way anyway, but that's Infernal Soul. SANDBOX, there shouldn't be any way they can lose this game with the amount of added power that they have, not to mention the scaling on this side. Caitlyn, so much range. Fate with so much more ability to engage. Afreeca still have some smoke and mirrors that they can play. And if someone's caught, they have a lot of CC they can throw down, but we're talking about 0-2 Lux, 0-2 Jhin, 3 and 4 Quinn, like, ooh. And even the red buff's going to go over to OnFleek. Nothing going Afreeca's way here in this game.
No, it's not going to feel very good for them.
Oh,
wow.
My God. Fly doesn't have a lot of armor.
0. Well,
yeah.
Not literally 0, but no armor on his items.
The Mountain Drake is buffing the 6 armor that he has.
Seems he has 81 in total at level 16.
All right, never mind. Not 6. Felt like it.
Close, close. Pick Keen, he's always hanging around. Okay, well, that's the inhibitor.
Shock blasts, man. So painful. Keen gonna get tagged, slowed down. Mystic trying to move forward, looking for that last bullet. He does do a lot of damage, but he just gets zoned out of the way. And looks like this inhibitor should be falling. Keen looking for Fate, does do a lot of chunk damage. But it's just the slow war of attrition for SANDBOX, as Afreeca know that they're just not as strong. Damn, this Jace is wrecking Afreeca right now.
This one champion they're having so much trouble with, and Caitlyn's so unbelievably fed at the same time that they can't really even enter the space of SANDBOXes. We're going for the tutorial victory. We are taking down everything as there's a binding.
Yeah, life binding connects, and Keen is going to get chunked with like 2.5 abilities, and he's very close to being dead. Another binding's pretty good. So get the stun out of Mystic.
And Jace's damage is going to be insane this game.
All right, looks like Afreeca are trying to take down the set. Let's see how well they're going to be able to do there as Mystic's killed by just a straight Sand Soldier, and as is Nautilus. Fly gets, oh my god, the damage is just ludicrous. As Kane, he'll be obliterated. No one has any damage. Infernal Soul is nuts, not to mention SANDBOX being so far ahead, and this Nexus is not going to last very long. 17-5, and SANDBOX even out the series. We are going the distance here tonight. SANDBOX, KT, very, very thankful to what SANDBOX are able to show us here today.
Yeah, that they are. They're going to get a little bit, one step closer. And SANDBOX are within one of even taking the series after that one. So
yeah,
I give my vote to Summit. I think that it was kind of a team effort once again, but the amount of damage he was able to put out was just way too much. Like, before every single fight, people on the side of Afreeca were at half health or even lower from one shot blast. So the way he was able to play from there, he got a lot of support from Afreeca, but Afreeca didn't even, he wasn't putting on any huge performances on the set or anything. So
yeah, there were some fun things with showstoppers and then Volley Bears ulting out again and things like that. Fate had some whoopsie moments. Don't think you can really give it to him. I think Root played quite well alongside Gorilla, also managing to get a whole lot of tags with those Winter Spikes. So I think it was just a team effort coming out of SANDBOX with, like you say, the Jace certainly coming in clutch. The Quinn, I mean, it's just so hard to find answers to Jace, right? Like, he tried, he went for the Quinn choice. Keen, of course, he's a very good player, but we've seen so many Quinns really not find much success here in the LCK.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the champ. Remember that he picked this into the Jace too. So
yeah,
from ahead it would look different, right? It would be the Quinn just barely winning trades. But the way that it was played out and the amount of focus that SANDBOX put into the top lane in the early to mid game did take a lot of power away from the Quinn. And even though, to address one of the other interesting picks, the fly on the Lux, even though they didn't get huge value out of it, I think if the game looked a little bit differently, the Lux would have been okay. I don't mind the pick too much there, so just a nice game from SANDBOX to come ahead and delete them and force a game 3.
Exactly right. Let's see whether SANDBOX can use this as momentum moving into game number 3 up against Afreeca. KT fans everywhere. You're now SANDBOX fans. We'll see you after the break.
자 끌려봐. 노태봐. 노태부터 노태 오페. 좋아. 에피.
아래쪽.
힘 잡았어.
오케이. 됐어. 여기 아래쪽.
상관없어.
잡았다.
캐틀 존나다 존나.
여기.
나이스. 나이스.
아, 좀 정말 많이 못했어.
아, 이거 수혁이가 진짜 잘했다.
아, 괜찮아.
끝. 나이스.
정말 좀 우리가 급했다.